You alright guys, how's it going? It is David Claydon from KZR Racing once again, and welcome back to my F1 Manager 22 career mode for round number 3 of Season 3 at the Australian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, do feel free to check out my channel. The playlist will be there along with all the previous episodes. Slight difference on the opening screen, as you can see. We're on the calendar, and there's a very good reason for that. I've had a bit of a think about it after the last episode, and we needed a change after Jeddah because, unfortunately, one of the key aspects of our team wasn't working out. So, after what happened at Jeddah, and after spending very, very big, we have, unfortunately, parted ways with Sebastian Vettel. It is a mutual agreement between both parties. Unfortunately, from our team's perspective, Sebastian wasn't getting the necessary results we needed compared to Gasly. Pierre, of course, won the opening race, the opening round of this year in Bahrain, and pulled off a mega two-stop in Jeddah despite falling back in the early stages to finish in 5th behind the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. So we needed a second driver to be able to get up there and fight consistently alongside Gasly to constantly challenge for those podiums and hopefully more race wins. So, the big reveal, we have replaced Sebastian Vettel with one Lewis Hamilton. You remember at the start of the season when we saw the driver changes, Lewis Hamilton was actually made a free agent at the start of the season. Mercedes replaced him with, ironically, his old teammate Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes camp, and that left Lewis without a drive. So we took the plunge, and we have hired the 7-time world champion to our team. This is for us a statement of intent. We want to win the championship, and we've got one of the best drivers on the grid to do that. It cost a hefty amount to get him signed, a 5-season contract for 30 million a year. So this is big money. This is big money, and it's a nearly £7 million to sign him immediately, and it is roughly £3.5 million per month. £3.5 million per month cost to pay the contract. So this is big money we've paid, and this is, I feel, the correct decision. Lewis, yes, he's a higher overall rated, but I do feel that with his performances in our developing car alongside Gasly, who's really going to push him, we're definitely going to get the results that we need to properly challenge, not just in the drivers, but the constructors as well. So that is the direction we are going with our new driver lineup, and that is quite a tasty driver lineup in the game and in real life, I would say. So we're going to get through all the bits of admin that we have. That includes, go back to Gasly, that has a development point. Actually, before we do that, we will go to the emails, because that's would have Saudi Arabia. I have an update from Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Still exceeding expectations. So what does Pierre Gasly say? Smoothness is the main one for Gasly. Exceeding expectations. And the hospitality refurbishment is now complete. So Gasly is, where is it? Smoothness. So we will do that for Gasly. And is there anyone else actually on the staff? Yep, our technical chief. We will go up on the chassis for him. Head of aero, nope. So that is all well and good. We have got 9 months left on several of our contracts actually. So I think I'll have to quickly sort them out. Okay, let's now go to our performance targets. Reach Q3, qualifying position 8th with one driver. Reach Q2 with one of our drivers, so we'll do that and that. Race targets, finishing position 8th with one driver. Yep, that's all well and good. So let us now go ahead into the Australian Grand Prix. Right, I was going to skip through to the end of practice because you guys have seen it all before. That was, of course, until I just saw Gasly has crashed out of qualifying. I mean, practice, sorry. That is not what I needed to see. It's like terminal everything is popping up on his screen. So whatever crash he was in, it was a big one. Just waiting for the thing to come up so I can actually see. Everything has been broken. So what on earth happened to him? Did we get the replay? Can we see what happened? Well, we're not going to get to see what happened, so I don't even know what happened to Gasly. Okay, guys. I did pause in the middle of practice. Like I said, I was going to go straight through to qualifying because you guys have seen all sim practice before. But yeah, as you saw, Gasly had one heck of a shunt that pretty much destroyed everything. I mean, yeah, we've lost the chassis, we've lost the chassis, we've lost the front wing, we've lost the rear wing. We fortunately haven't lost the side pod or an underfloor. We've lost the suspension, and we've completely wrecked the engine gearbox in the RS. So, and of course, the replay didn't come up, so I don't know what caused this kind of crash. The only thing that I can think of is that someone crashed into him. That's the only thing I can think of. So now we are changing all the bits on Gasly's car, so that's all done and dusted. This is all done. So now at the moment, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go back to his highest setup confidence, because that was the best he had. And that's unfortunately how we're going to have to run Gasly for this weekend. Yeah, the amount of damage that Gasly got there, I can only imagine was he got crashed into. That's the only explanation I can think of. Lewis, we're going to put a fresh engine in because that was on its way out. As for gearbox, we will put a new one in. These are within the parameters, so that's fine. So yeah, we managed to get 89 with Lewis, so that was pretty good. And we got him out for a single flying lap at the end, which put him up to P1 in the standings. But qualifying is where it counts, so let's go into qualifying and see how our new world champion driver, performs. Okay, guys, end of Q3. Both guys successfully got through into the final stage of qualifying, and they've been consistently putting in good times throughout the entire session. As we look at Gasly, he's green in both sectors, as is Lewis as well. Both Pierre and Lewis have been doing great. Here comes Pierre to the line, and he will go P4. Only 4/10 off the lead, but here comes Lewis. And where's he going to be in relation to Gasly? He will go P4. Just over a tenth ahead. So, first initial signs is that the $30 million gamble has paid off. Both Lewis and Pierre are in the top 5. So we cannot complain with that. Lewis being only just under 3/10 off of Charles. So that's not too bad. That is not too bad for qualifying. And Pierre, despite that crash in in practice that took him out, he still qualified well. So it's all looking pretty good so far for the race. So we will go into the strategy windows. It's either a 2 or a 1 stop. The 1 stop is... looking at that, it's not ideal, but the gamble with the 2 stop paid off, and we would have been a little bit closer to the front runners if we didn't get caught up in that fight with Magnussen. So we're going to try it. We're going to try it. So we're going to add a new stint. We're going to put that there. We're going to go mediums here and hards here. We're going to bring this one back here. So 20... Yep, so we'll go 90, yeah, we'll go 18 on the first stint, 36 on the second stint. And that'll give us some leeway to play with how aggressive we want to go. So, and the undercut did work pretty effectively as well in Jeddah, so providing we don't get stuck in too much traffic here, this should play out. So we're going to upgrade this strategy, and that's the one we're going to select. And we are going to do the same for Gasly. Add another stint. Oops, swap these around. We're going to go 18, 36. At least that'll give us, yeah, like I said, that'll give us a little bit of leeway to push on the tyres and go a little bit quicker. So upgrade the strategy, and we'll do the same there. So that's all good. I'm going to put as much fuel as we can in. And driving options at the start, the usual. So do the same, fuel, driving options. There we go. So that's all set, guys, and without further ado, let us get into the Australian Grand Prix.
I hope I'm not tempting fate here, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. And here we've got Lewis Hamilton. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. Next for the team, it's Pierre Gasly. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. The race start is mere seconds away. Get ready for the Australian
Okay, green flag at the back. 5 red lights to the Australian Grand Prix.
And it's lights out
And off they go. Hamilton doesn't quite get the best of starts, as opposed to Gasly. They still follow each other through, and they hold position ahead of the Mercedes of Bottas and the McLaren of Norris. Meanwhile, Lewis thinks about the attack on Verstappen, but again, thinks better of it. So we're going to take the guys off neutral. Take the guys onto neutral on the ERS. We're going to leave them to push a little bit at the start. But the top 5 are already breaking away from the rest of the field. As it's Leclerc leading Sainz, Verstappen, Hamilton and Gasly, followed by Bottas, Norris, Ricciardo, Russell and Magnussen rounding out the top 10. Perez is nowhere. I've only just realised that. He's dropped out. He's down in 12th. It didn't come up on the screen, him having a penalty, so I don't know what on earth has happened there with the second Red Bull, but it means that Max has got to deal not only with both Ferraris, but both Aston Martins, all by his lonesome. But for the meantime, I just need my guys to stick with him, just so we can stay in the DRS. The Science is already having a look at his teammate, and that's gonna slow us a lot down for the group behind. So we're now getting to a point where I'm going to have to ease up on the fuel, but I'm going to keep them on aggressive. I'm going to keep them on aggressive. And in the meantime, let's see if we can push forward to the DRS period, which is now. So it seems during the race everyone is a lot closer together because the leaders aren't getting away as much as they normally would, as Lewis had a look at Verstappen ahead of him. So Lewis feels he's obviously got the pace here to fight these guys. And it's a fairly mixed spread of tyres, actually. Close to half and half on mediums and hards. Obviously, the guys further down have the incentive to start on the hard tyres to try and make up places, but the window for the one stop is a little bit too narrow for my liking. I do feel the two stop is going to be the better way to go in terms of just outright pace-wise, and the undercut is quite powerful if you can pull it off. Meanwhile, DRS is now active. We've got Leclerc trying to hold off his teammate. Verstappen hasn't quite got the legs on the Ferraris at the moment, but he's got DRS to keep himself out of range of both Lewis and Pierre. So, for the time being, everything seems to be all doing okay. So I'm going to skip ahead a few laps, see if anything happens. Okay, we just come up to lap 15. The pit window is open for both guys. And this is the first move that has actually been made in a while, as Sainz tried to have a look around the outside of his teammate, but Leclerc fends him off. This has been pretty much the status quo for a lot of this first stint, in all honesty. Sainz pressurising his teammate. Max trying to get into the fray, and Lewis just watching in the background with a bucket of popcorn. Gasly keeping a little bit of distance from Lewis. Pierre's just maintaining in the DRS, while at the same time doing enough to hold Bottas back, who's just behind. We've built quite a healthy gap, actually, to the next group behind us, which is the two McLarens and Russell, the second Mercedes. And then a long, long way back is Sergio Perez in P10, who's only just gotten into P10. He's only breaking away from that group now. So this is a weird one, as Sainz has just now come into the pits along with Bottas and Norris. And they've got onto the hard tyres, so they're committing to the two-stop. That's a definite. There's the confirmation, so Lewis will be coming in now. And there he goes, into the pit lane. Gasly will carry on for one more lap, so we're going to get him on attack. He's going to have DRS off Lewis, but I don't think he's going to be in DRS range of the guys ahead of him. So we're going to bring him in for a set of mediums himself. So now, quick change, 2.7 stop. So where is Sainz in all of this? He's coming down the pit straight now. And Lewis is just... Yes, Lewis has gotten ahead of Carlos Sainz. And he's gotten ahead of the Alfa Romeo that's in front of him. That is excellent. That's just what we needed to happen. So, that's P12 at the moment. So Gasly is probably going to fall behind Sainz, but I would think that he's going to get ahead of Bottas and Norris. So here we go. 2.5 stop there for 2.5 stop there for Gasly. Now, there's Gasly coming out the pit lane. He actually hasn't lost that much time. He's just behind Lewis. So that's even better. But we are now in the midst of this traffic now. Lewis has already gotten the move done on Stroll. Late braking round the outside of that newly designed, one of those newly designed corners in the second sector. And clean round Lewis goes into what will now be P10 now, I believe. So he's back into the points already. Guys in the garage love that as well. Let's just slow that down. Yep, he's already on the back of Alex Albon. And Verstappen's in the pits. Verstappen's in the pits, so where's he? He's just coming out the pit lane. We're not quite going to get the jump on him, but he is going to be stuck in this traffic with us. So we didn't lose out anything, as Gasly, I just saw in the background, has gone for the move on Stroll. We're going to push and overtake. We're going to get this move done. And Lewis is going down the inside of Albon, actually, so both guys are on the move now. And Gasly just going to wait for this move to get done, and he pulls it off, but Stroll is still there. He's not letting Gasly get away from him. And Stroll, he just got back ahead. So frustrating, that one. Lewis, on the other hand, he did get ahead of Albon, so he's now making moves up the field. He's already on the back of Sergio Perez. Meanwhile, Gasly's gone for another move on Stroll. And this time he's going to make it work, and Sainz goes in between the both of them to make it 3 wide in that move, but he has to back out of it. And Stroll is just not letting this go. He's not giving up without a fight, as Ricciardo, Russell and Perez have now come in now. And finally, Gasly gets ahead of the Alpine, but it's used up a chunk of our ERS doing it. As we follow Lewis chasing down Ocon, as Leclerc is now in the pits. And Lewis is going to make the dive. He's going to make another daring move. He's not letting Max Verstappen get away from him. He's going to keep chasing him. It depends on whether Ocon's going to give up this place or not without a fight. Doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, Leclerc makes his stop, and he comes out with plenty of time in hand. He's actually gotten quite a gap because of all this fighting in the midfield. Lewis, meanwhile, did get Esteban, so that's another one off the checklist. As now, he's still not letting go of Verstappen, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. So, let's skip ahead a little bit further and see how things go. And one of the cars that was actually in front of Verstappen and Hamilton, Zhou, spins out directly in front of them as they were side by side. Lewis looking to try and make another move, this time on his old rival, Max Verstappen. Couldn't quite pull it off, but he has made the move now. Hold on a minute. This happened out of nowhere. What on earth is going on with Lewis Hamilton? Following that in the same place, gets alongside, opens DRS, and there he goes. Legitimately up into P3 there. Only Kevin Magnussen, who, by the way, has still got to make a stop. Our new signing, our 7-time world champion signing, is not in the mood to mess around here. He wants to get ahead and cut into that lead. Old Charles Leclerc. Is he going to make another move here? Not quite. Magnussen keeps that door closed. He goes to the centre of the circuit, knowing Lewis is very fond of making a dive through there. So now, I've got to be very wary of the fuel because they're using a lot. They're using a lot of it round here, and we didn't get the option to put any more in the tank. Meanwhile, Gasly in the background has gotten ahead of a few of the guys. He's now up into P5. And Sonoda's locked up. He was one of the cars behind. Lewis is going to try and make the move around the outside. Going to go back to neutral. And he's made the move clean, has made it stuck. So Lewis has gotten through all those lap cars and is now up into P2 of the Australian Grand Prix. Gasly, as you can see in the background. We'll see the replay again. Lewis jinks out to the left-hand side. Magnussen tried to push him all the way to the grass, but Lewis kept his foot in. Kept his foot in and has made the move clean as you like. Gasly, meanwhile, in all that confusion, has also gotten ahead of Albon and Ocon. And he's only 1.5 behind Verstappen. So if Magnussen can hold off Verstappen a little bit longer and allow Gasly to catch up, this will be an added bonus for us. Meanwhile, Lewis has already pulled out quite a sizable gap to the Haas himself. Verstappen looked for a move, but it didn't quite pan out. So again, and oh, I just saw that in the background. Magnussen just spun out directly in front of Verstappen, and that has allowed Gasly to close up to Verstappen. Okay, coming up to Lewis's pit stop. I'm going to put him on conserve and harvest on the way in. Let's get him in for his hard tyre stop. Pit this lap. And then he comes. Meanwhile, Gasly, we're going to get him on attack because this is going to be his pit stop. We will speed this up and see. Oh, this is his normal pit stop anyway. So, pit options. Bring him in for the hards. Pit this lap. So that'll get him in. Meanwhile, Lewis, as multiple cars have crashed, as we just said that, we're going to get back on neutral and balance as they come out of the pit lane and back down to aggressive on the tyres. Multiple cars have crashed. There's only yellow flags at the moment. Lewis is out in P10 with everyone else on hard tyres, but they're definitely stopping again. Because there's no way most of the guys in front are taking on the hard tyres. Here comes Lewis and Gasly. Oh, this is going to be close. And Gasly's actually gotten ahead of Hamilton. Hold on a minute there. I did not see that one happening. Lewis, meanwhile, he's going to stick his nose down the inside. And they're going to go for They're going to fight for it. They're going to go side by side through this next section. Lewis versus Pierre. Gasly v Hamilton. And Lewis just edges that one out. Very clean and respectable, very clean and respectful racing from both guys there. So the respect is there, and the teamwork is obviously there. So not complaining. I did. Gasly was still on neutral and that, so I apologise to Pierre for that. But ideally, what I need them to do is to not fight each other at this stage. So I am going to ask Pierre to not fight his teammate. This will only it's only going to hamper them if they start fighting too hard. Plus, there is a possibility that all these guys ahead have got to pit again, and they are in clean air, and I don't want to mess that up. Just cut ahead onto lap 45. We've already caught up to that group, and Lewis is in the middle of making a double overtake because he's just gone around the outside of Sergio Perez at the final corner, and immediately, as you can see, went straight on the attack of Daniel Ricciardo. We're going to go back to this now. You like that now, but Lewis isn't finished yet. Down the inside of the Honey Badger he goes. He's up into P4. Lewis Hamilton is not messing around here. Well, Lewis has decided he's on the move, so I can take Gasly off of Don't Fight Teammate and get him going as well. But now Lewis has got nothing stopping him from attacking George Russell. Sainz is currently the fastest man on the circuit. Understandably, he's on fresh mediums. Meanwhile, here comes Lewis. Brief little spurt of overtake. Is he going to make dive around the outside? Nope. George sees it coming immediately. Lewis just switches back and dives it down the inside. And he's still going to hold this through. George is trying his best against his former teammate, but Lewis, as the yellow flag in sector 3, there was a lock-up somewhere. I don't know who it was, but there you go. Lewis Hamilton has gotten ahead of George Russell. And it was Ocon who locked up. So he was on his own. That doesn't really matter too much. But look at that. Lewis Hamilton, in the space of 2 laps, has already overtaken that entire group of cars and is up into P3. So now, Gasly, and oh, I just saw in the background. Sainz was catching. He's just locked up and gone straight on at turn 3. What on earth is going on there? Here comes Sainz catching up to that group, and he's just locked up. He's had to come off the brakes to avoid hitting that outside wall. But now he's got to make up that ground all over again. Cutting on to lap 51, and Gasly has just managed to get the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. Clean as you like into turn 3. He's got the tyre wear advantage at the moment. And we just cut through. You didn't see it, but I made the move. And Gasly, down the main straight, got both Russell and Ricciardo in one go. That is absolutely fantastic from Pierre Gasly. Gasly's out of battery. But on his first race, his debut race for the team, Lewis Hamilton will be on the podium, P3 in the Australian Grand Prix. And Pierre Gasly will get P4 for a good set of double points for our team. Great driving from both of them. Brilliant overtaking. Great pace. Fantastic from both of them. Fantastic from both of them. That definitely bodes well for our. That definitely bodes well for later in the season. That one change has made all the difference. So we'll go, as you can see, Charles Leclerc, the race winner from Max Verstappen, nowhere near the race leader. 24 seconds off. Lewis Hamilton, P3, rounds out the podium. Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas and Lando Norris rounds out the top 10 for a very, very brilliant day's work for not only the team, but for our new driver. Lewis Hamilton, after a very brief absence from the competition, after being made a free agent, is now back on the podium, but this time in the British racing green of Aston Martin Racing. With no wins this season, Max Verstappen is leading the Drivers' Championship, and he hasn't won a race yet. He's gotten on the podium at all 3 races. That's what counts, the consistency. With Charles Leclerc, no, this is his first win of the season, actually. I got that wrong. So, first win of the season for Charles Leclerc. Gasly, P3 in the championship with 1 win to his name and another 1 win in that podium. So, and he's still only 8 points behind Max Verstappen. And then going down, Sergio Perez, he of course won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. He was absolutely nowhere today. Shocking race from him, as it was for Sainz. Started so well, but fell so quickly when he pitted way too early for me for that 2-stop. He pitted way too early, and as a result, both Gasly and Hamilton got ahead of him. Daniel Ricciardo solid result from him up into P6. But already Lewis Hamilton, with that one podium, is already up into P7 in the championship. So it's hopefully a sign of things to come. And then, as you can see, our former driver, Sebastian Vettel, with the 6 points contributed at the start of the season at Bahrain in P12, in P11 still, but that will change later on as the season goes through. In the Constructors, not a lot of change. We do, both of ourselves and Ferrari do close on Red Bull, but Ferrari are a lot closer, only 10 points behind them, whereas we are a further 27 back from Red Bull, but we are well clear of McLaren, Mercedes and Haas, so not a lot of sweating from behind at the moment, but only the third race of the season, still a long way to go. And as you can see, everything all panned out in the end. So yeah, was that signing worth it? Definitely, absolutely, definitely. And we're getting more sponsorship money now coming in because we're not paying the race bonus for Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton actually took the big contract and the start and the signing on fee, but he didn't. I didn't have to sign him a race bonus, so I am very, very happy with that. We're now getting more money into the team as a result, so that's definitely going to help us in the long run. So yeah, very, very good race, very productive race, and probably, well, definitely the best signing that we could have asked for without question. So hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you did, do feel free to leave a like and a comment and share this video around. It really does help. Subscribe to the channel and turn on subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of those videos. I am David Clayton of KZR Racing. We will see you next time for the Imola Grand Prix. Goodbye.